Okay, so have you ever looked at a whole book and been like, oh, no way I can finish that in one day? I feel you. But what if I told you it's totally possible? Like, for real. We're talking about conquering a whole book from start to finish in just 24 hours. Sounds kinda crazy, right? But trust me, it's not as hard as you think. First things first, you gotta pick the right book, you know? It's like the foundation of the whole thing. Don't go picking up some super long, complicated book if you're just starting out. Start with something manageable, something that genuinely interests you. No one wants to spend a whole day reading something they hate, right? Think about the genre you're into. Maybe a book you've been meaning to read forever. The point is, choose something you'll actually enjoy, because that's gonna make all the difference. Okay, so you've got your book, now you need the perfect reading spot. No, seriously, this is important. Find a quiet place where you won't be bothered every 5 seconds, like maybe your room, a comfy chair in the corner, or even a park if you're feeling adventurous. Just make sure it's a place where you can really focus, you know? And don't forget to grab all the essentials. Water, snacks, maybe a cozy blanket. Whatever you need to get comfy and stay focused. Trust me, it makes all the difference. Alright, so you have your book, your perfect spot. Now it's time for a game plan. We're talking about a reading schedule, people. But don't freak out. It's not as intense as it sounds. Look at your book, figure out how many pages it has, and then divide that by the number of hours you have to read. This gives you a rough idea of how many pages you need to read per hour. But don't be afraid to adjust as you go, okay? If you're breezing through, read more. If it's a bit dense, take your time. The point is to have a plan, but be flexible with it. We're not just reading here, we're reading efficiently. That means no zoning out, no scrolling through your phone every 5 minutes. We're talking laser focus, people. Start with a quick skim of the chapter, get a feel for what it's about. Then, go back and focus on the key points, the main ideas. Don't be afraid to highlight or take notes if that helps you remember stuff. And most importantly, engage with the text. Think about what you're reading, ask questions, make connections. Okay, so you want to read a whole book in a day, you got to step up your game. There are these things called speed reading techniques, and they're actually pretty cool. One of them is called the SQ3R method. It stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. Basically, you skim the text, ask questions about what you're going to read actively, try to recall what you've read, and then review the material. It sounds like a lot, but trust me, it actually helps you comprehend and remember what you've read. Okay, let's be real. Staying focused for a whole day of reading, it's tough, but there are a few things you can do to make it easier. First, set small goals for yourself, like, I'm going to read 2 chapters before I take a break, or I'm going to finish this section by lunchtime. Little goals like that can make the whole thing feel less overwhelming. And don't forget to stay hydrated. Water is your best friend when it comes to staying focused. Also, avoid multitasking. Put your phone away, turn off the TV, and just focus on the book. Trust me, your brain will thank you for it. Congrats! You made it! You read a whole book in a day. But don't just close the book and forget about it. Take some time to review what you've learned. Maybe write a quick summary of each chapter, or even talk about the book with a friend. The more you engage with the material, the better you'll remember it. And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire someone else to try one-day reading challenge. So you did it! You conquered the one-day reading challenge. That's seriously impressive. Remember, reading a whole book in a day is totally doable, and it can be a really rewarding experience. It's all about finding the right book, creating the perfect reading environment, and using effective reading techniques. So go forth and conquer those books, my friends. You got this!